Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another PossibilityStorm.com puzzle. So last week's puzzle was a doozy, a mythic rare puzzle. This one, a little bit easier for you, just an uncommon, but it's got some cool interactions going on. So, like usual, we'll go briefly over the rules of PossibilityStorm.com puzzles, talk a bit about this puzzle, then I'll give you a chance to pause the video, and you can come up with your answer, then I'll jump back in, give you the correct answer in case you didn't come up with it. So anyway, like always, the biggest rule of PossibilityStorm.com puzzles is you gotta win this turn. You can't pass the turn, hope your opponent breaks on their draw step, you draw the perfect card. Gotta win this exact turn. If your opponent untaps, they're gonna kill you with only the information you have available. So your library's not relevant, your graveyard's not relevant, what you see is what you get. For this puzzle in specific, opponent's at 10 life, so that's how much damage we gotta get off of our opponent. Opponent has 3 blockers, right now we have 3 attackers, plus a vehicle. Thing is, all of our attackers at the moment are just 1/1s, thanks to Overwhelming Splendor, and our Fell Flagship can't be activated, so Overwhelming Splendor is throwing a big wrench in our plans at the moment. However, it's worth noting we do have a Ronus's Monument, which can potentially pump and trample up our creatures when we cast a creature, so this is what you're working with. See if you can figure out a way to get those 10 points of life off of our opponent, and I will be back in just a minute to give you the answer to this week's PossibilityStorm.com puzzle. So how did you do? Did you come up with a solution, a way to kill our opponent this very turn for this week's PossibilityStorm.com puzzle? Let's break it down. So, first off, opponent 3 blockers, worth keeping in mind. Vizier Remedies, 2/1, Dauntless Haven, 2/1 with Flying, Scrapper Champion, 4/4 Double Striker, kinda scary. The bigger deal, though, is our opponent has an Overwhelming Splendor, which is basically gonna make it impossible for us to win with our creatures. Our creatures being 1/1 with no abilities, even with the help of Ronus's Monument, is not going to get 10 points of damage through our opponent's defenses. So that's problem number 1. We have to answer the Overwhelming Splendor. On our side of the battlefield, Slitherblade, normally a 1/2 unblockable, Fathom Fleet Captain, normally a 2/1 with Menace, Skyship Plunderer, normally a 2/1 with Flying. The second 2 are both pirates, so they benefit from our Fell Flagship, giving our pirates +1/+0, so Skyship Plunderer actually 3 power, same with Fathom Fleet Captain. Ronus's Monument, super key, because it not only makes our creatures bigger, which obviously we don't have enough power on the battlefield to win right now, but it gives our creatures trample, which allows us to win, hopefully through our opponent's blockers. As far as our hand, Crocodile the Crossing, important since it can come down with haste and give us another attacker to help us win this turn. Bloodcrazed Paladin has Flash, not going to be able to attack this turn though. Pirate's Cutlass is really expensive on this board. We could cast it and equip it, but that's going to cost 5 of our 7 mana, so just making our Slitherblade or something into a 3/3 or whatever isn't going to be enough to get the job done. And then probably the most important card in our hand is Consign to Oblivion. So Oblivion, not really relevant because our opponent doesn't have cards in hand, or we don't know what the cards are in their hand. However, Consign gives us a way we can get out from under the Overwhelming Splendor, which I think is step number 1. So it's tempting right now to just cast the Consign, bounce the Overwhelming Splendor, and then try to figure it out from there, because we know we need to get rid of the Overwhelming Splendor eventually. But this puzzle does a good job of showing how it's important to think through your entire turn before you start making moves, because we're probably going to need the Crocodile of the Crossing to be able to win the game this turn. We're going to need an additional attacker. We're going to need that Ronus's Monument trigger. So we could just consign Overwhelming Splendor, play our hasty Crocodile of the Crossing. The downside is, if we do it that way, we're going to have to put a -1/-1 counter on one of our creatures when Crocodile of the Crossing enters the battlefield, giving us slightly less attacking power. So I think what we want to do here is cast our Crocodile of the Crossing first. So let's cast our Crocodile of the Crossing. That's going to trigger our Ronus's Monument and let us pump one of our creatures. Let's pump our Fathom Fleet Captain, +2/+2, also giving it trample. So do that first. Then we have a 1/1 non-hasty Crocodile the Crossing. The thing is, we can use our Consign afterwards, and suddenly Crocodile comes back into its normal form. We'll have a 5/4 with haste that we can attack with. So step 1, Crocodile, using 3 of our mana, Consign from Consign to Oblivion for 2 mana to bounce to Overwhelming Splendor. Then we have attacking, or with potential to attack, a Slitherblade, which is a 1/2, a Fathom Fleet Captain, which is a 5/3 with Trample and Menace. Skyship Plunder is a 3/1 with Flying. Remember, we have the Fell Flagship pumping the pirates, and Crocodile the Crossing as a 5/4 with haste. So swing with everything, and that basically leaves our opponent with a few different options in terms of their blocks. If they want to block Fathom Fleet Captain, they have to throw 2 creatures in front of it. So let's say they throw 2 of their creatures in front of Fathom Fleet Captain, probably including the Scrapper Champion, which shuts down Fathom Fleet Captain's ability to deal any trample damage thanks to the double strike mechanic. And then they throw their other blocker in front of our Crocodile, or they could throw it in front of our Skyship Plunder if they wanted to. Either way, so they block with everything, maximum chumpage, and basically all we gotta do in that scenario is look at our opponent's blocks and then cast our Bloodcraze Paladin to trigger Ronus's Monument and give the right creature +1/+1 in trample. So let's say they choose to double block Fathom Fleet Captain and then block our flyer. They're taking 5 from Crocodile the Crossing, they're taking 1 from the Slitherblade. We flash in our Bloodcraze Paladin, give our Skyship Plunderer +2/+2 in trample. That's going to make it a 5/3, tramples over for 4 damage, 5 and 1 and 4 equals up to 10 damage, kills our opponent. If our opponent decides they are going to, for some reason, double block our Crocodile the Crossing and block our Skyship Plunderer, we're hitting for 5 with Fathom Fleet Captain, 1 with Slitherblade, flash in our Bloodcraze Paladin, trigger Ronus's Monument, give Skyship Plunderer trample, that adds to 4 trample damage through the flyer, and gives us 10 damage again. So no matter what combination of blocks our opponent assembles, double blocking the captain, not blocking the captain, we can use the Bloodcraze Paladin as an instant speed +2/+2 and trample spell, even though it's not really relevant to the game other than triggering Ronus's Monument, to make sure that we are getting across 10 points of damage. So it's basically that simple. Make sure you cast the Crocodile the Crossing before bouncing Overwhelming Splendor, because all those lines we were talking about give us exactly 10 damage, which is our opponent's life total, which means if we had to put that -1/-1 counter on something, we would not have lethal damage on this board. So it's really key that we use Overwhelming Splendor, a card that's supposed to be ruining our game plan, as a potential upside for our game plan by not having to put that counter on something. And then, after we avoid that -1/-1 counter, we can bounce the Overwhelming Splendor, swing with everything, and just look at how our opponent blocks no matter what options they choose. Flashing in Bloodcraze Paladin will give us lethal trample damage with one of our creatures. So, anyway, that's this week's PossibilityStorm.com puzzle. Make sure you get the timing right. Super sweet and kind of oddly tricky puzzle. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.